One of the important things when we started this show on Connect was to understand our health more, our wellness. And we have a segment called Health Beat, and we're going to be talking about, I believe, cardiomyopathy. Now, this is something I'm not as familiar with, and it's important that we lean in with an expert and someone that has been diagnosed with something known as HCM. Well, we've got two amazing folks joining us down in Mississippi right now, and Dr. Crowder, let's start with you. What led you down the path to become a cardiologist?
So born and raised down here in the South, and unfortunately see a lot of people in my area that suffer from heart disease and a lot of underserved areas here, and I felt a passion for heart stuff, and that led me down the journey to where I am today in Jackson, Mississippi.
Well, Dr. Crowder, you certainly have become world-renowned. Let me ask about this condition we're talking about today, HCM. What has you concerned?
Sure. So this condition is called hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. And what happens is the heart muscle becomes thick. We often think about heart failure as being a weak muscle. This is not a weak muscle. This is a strong, thick muscle, and it occurs in an area of the heart where the blood's trying to leave the heart. And so heart is a pump. Anytime we have a pump that has an obstructed outflow, then we have pressure buildup. And in this case, pressure builds up in the lungs, and we have symptoms of shortness of breath, exercise intolerance. We see chest pain and pressure, and palpitations. We see things that can lead to syncope, which is passing out spells.
Scary indeed, and doctor, we'll be back with you in just a second, but Stephanie, what led you to the doctor that ultimately led to the diagnosis?
Well, first I just want to say we're excited to be here on behalf of BMS to highlight this disease during Heart Month. My diagnosis story is pretty long, but I'm going to make it quick. I was diagnosed with a murmur in my 20s, and that didn't stop me from having an active life. I was a marathon runner in my 30s and 40s, running marathons, but then I started to feel some of those symptoms that Dr. Crowder talked about, and I had to stop running, and I couldn't walk a flight of stairs without having to stop and catch my breath within just a few years. That led me to my diagnosis in 2022, and that took me to Dr. Crowder for treatment.
Well, we're certainly glad you found Dr. Crowder. We're glad he's with us as well. But Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing much better today. We decided on a medical therapy for me, and I am back to my active lifestyle. I'm walking, walking with my dog, hiking, pottery. I know the results aren't the same for everybody, but I am back in the game.
Well, we certainly love hearing that. Stephanie, thank you for what you do to help others on their journey with this diagnosis. But doctor, back to you. What's the call to action for our viewers?
So I think what we see is diagnosing the condition and thinking about therapies, and in this particular case with Stephanie, since 2022, using medicine, Camzyos or mavacamten, which actually helps to relieve this gradient, this obstruction, and gets rid of symptoms. It makes people feel better and get back to living. When we talk about heart conditions, though, we talk about side effects, and in this case, we can cause heart failure that might lead to death. So we have to monitor this condition very frequently with echocardiograms, which are ultrasounds to help monitor therapy and make sure we stay away from those side effects. We talk to patients about pre-existing conditions. In female patients, we talk about pregnancy. We talk about medicine interactions. The main thing is we talk. We have discussions with the patients about everything and trying to decide, what the best course of action is, and to talk about all the ins and outs of therapies, because everybody's different.
Thank you, doctor. I know we have the website up that we can go to learn more information, but Stephanie, if we could, last words to you as we wrap.
Do your research, talk to your doctor. There are many good options out there, and you can get back to a pretty active lifestyle. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate your time this morning.